started wanting to work out, and it's springtime. Some of you want to lose some weight, getting ready for the beach, get ready for the lake. But this guy went to the gym, and he's like, I looked in the mirror, and I didn't see any results. Then I went for 2 weeks, and man, I didn't see any results. But 3 months down the road, he started seeing results. 6 months down the road, he really started seeing results. And it's the same thing with what we do virtually. You said the purpose of this call, you say it every time you get on this call, is to take that learning curve and make it go down. But the key is you're not going to get and learn and become in 1 week, not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks, all right? Then you're going to start seeing flashes of some wins, and you're going to get a little taste of it, and you're going to realize it's showing up every day. It's getting better every day. My mind is just racing constantly because I just don't think that we're scratching the surface. We went from, having 16 people on the call last April, May, when I started plugging into your call, to 500 plus people on the call. We went from dialing to text messaging. I think that there's going to be constantly changes evolve the better we get, right? But we're just going to continue to keep it simple because we are looking for the masses to be able to do this. This thing is so duplicatable, man. And I love our life leads that we got. We got an array of life leads. It's going to be a mentality of I get leads every week. I get leads every week. It doesn't matter if it's mortgage protection or a life lead, right? It's a lead, right? And you just pivot your presentation based on that lead. So I'm going to shut up, man. I can't wait to hear from Taylor and Connor, the OGs. The OGs of virtual are going to be coaching us today.
Yeah, Nick, it's you said it yesterday. The only person that can beat you in this business is you. You got to beat this right here. That's the battle every day. It's not the text messages. It's not the people not responding. It's not the people saying they didn't think about it. It's you right here. You can develop your skill set, and we can help you figure out how do you go through that process to overcome objections up front, start to close more, all that. So we can do all that. But you've got to beat this right here every day. You got to win. And that's setting your 6 appointments a day. What you're going to hear from Danny said, hey, I think I'll make $250 a year this year. And I go, that's exactly what the model was built for. We said, how do you work 4 days a week? How many appointments do you need to be able to make $250,000 a year working 4 days a week? And Danny is doing just that. He's on track because towards the end of the year, fourth quarter, he'll gain more momentum and his average will go up. And I have no doubt he'll cross the 250 because that's what the model was built for. 6 appointments a day, 4 days a week minimum, and produces a $250,000 income. That's the whole thing was built on that. We backed into it. We said $250,000. How many apps do you need? Average commission, all this stuff. We did all that and came up with 6 appointments a day. And Danny, you heard me say yesterday, Danny said, there's only been 1 week since I started. And 1 day within that week that I didn't get my 6. So it's no surprise where he's at right now because he's just running the model. He's on the coaching session every day. He's following the system to a T. And that's why he's getting the result. It produces that result. So yeah, the battle every day is against you right here.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. It's a fight. It's an all-out assault on you. Not anybody else on this call. I'm not worried. Me and Connor talk is like you check the leaderboard. I look at the leaderboard where I see where our group is, right? Because we're fighting for that top spot, all right? But I know me and JB know what we got to do every day to get to that top spot as a team, right? It's an all-out assault every day. I'm not worried about anybody else. I'm not worried about you in the gallery not paying attention, doing your laundry. I don't care because that doesn't affect me and what we're going to do every single day, right? And when you can get better, it's going to affect so many more people around you. They're going to see you walk different. They're going to see you talk different. They're going to feel your passion when you decide that I'm going to be having all-out assault on my mediocrity. Guys, I've been asleep for the last 3 years. I've been walking through this business asleep. I'm awake now, and I'm more excited than I've ever been because the opportunity is bigger than it's ever been, right? And I'm so thankful for everybody that's went before us. Barry and Rob, the sacrifices they made, the sacrifices you made, Rumbo, to give us this opportunity, for Taylor and Connor to go through the heck that they went through to fight, to develop this process. I didn't have to figure out Zoom to figure out that it didn't work. I got to plug into what Connor and Taylor were doing every day. They paved the path for me to plug in and go to work. It all was up to me just to go to work. And the same thing is for you guys. It's only going to get better. So the people you're going to bring into the business, it's going to be better for them than it was for you when you got into the business, right? It's not easy by no shape, form, or fashion. It's just so much more efficient. That learning curve goes down more and more the better we get at what we do.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, it is, guys. You got to, just like we said, just commit that I'm not ever going to have a day that I get less than 6. Don't judge your week by the day. You're going to have some days that are rough days. Matter of fact, Rob was asking me, and he asked me this all the time. I give him the same answer. He was asking me yesterday, hey, man, how's your week going? I go, I don't know. He goes, you ain't looked at your numbers? I go, I look at them at the end of the week. He goes, you don't look at them during the week? I said, no, I can't, because if I look at it on Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to be like, oh, man, we're not having a good week. But I know if we just keep our head down, stick to the process every day, week's going to turn out okay. And it does every time. Some weeks aren't as good as others, but as long as we keep playing, you know what the numbers keep doing? They keep growing. They keep growing. They keep growing. Yeah. And you'll do the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's a personal production level or you're growing your team. If you just keep your head down, focus on the process, stay committed to the process, and win up here more than you lose, you can't help but win. The machine produces the result.
Yeah. Barry says it all the time, Rumbo. He says, have new business highs. Constantly chase to have a new business high. That's your basis. Whatever your average is, that's your basis. Constantly fight to get above that basis. For some of you, it may be those 12 to 15 appointments a week if you're doing it part-time. The basis that Connor and Taylor taught me was 24 appointments a week. So I fight to get 30 because I want to do more, right? Because I wasn't as confident in myself on 24 appointments. I wanted to get more, right? So that's just my mentality. It was an insecurity. But I fight to get better, and that's just going to raise your basis each and every day of who you're going to become. You're going to have more confidence. You're going to have more belief in what you do. You're going to be more bold with people, So it's just an all-out assault every single day on yourself and getting better.
Yep. Yeah. Douglas, you're going to be surprised, man. Danny Valdez, I talked to him this week and I said, hey, man, get yourself some new leads, will you? Because he's working all the other ones and he's making it happen. But I said, get some new ones because you'll condense your time frame. You'll shorten that time it takes to set those appointments. So we'll talk to him in just a few minutes. Danny says, the more leads, the better. I use different kinds of leads. He uses all sorts of leads. He goes, man, I get a few new ones. I get a bunch of B's, C's, D's, IPLs. He gets all sorts of leads. So he's working them all.
So what you're saying is he don't put his future results on the type of lead that he works?
That's right.
He knows
the investment.
He don't put his identity in it. He goes to work. He trusts this process that's been developed for all of us, and he shows up and he goes to work every day. He puts the numbers in his favor, right? Me and Rumbo were talking earlier about, or a couple of days ago, about Danny's investment. When he told me what his investment was and what he wrote, I said, oh my gosh, all he's got to do is invest more in leads. He'll double his production, But it's that skill set that he developed by doing the work. He's doing the 10 times investment. He's 2,000 right at 17. So he's right there, 8.5, 9 times investment. He invests 4,000. He'll start issue paying $40,000 a month. Then he'll be on that top 10 that Barry and Rob recognize every month at $40,000. So it's just he's just getting better. That's all it is. So
thank you, Nick. All right, Heather, let's bring on Connor and Taylor. Thank you, Nick. Morning, man.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Mr. Virtual himself?
Oh, trying to stay awake with a little kiddo around, but coffee's been good to me.
Me too. Yeah, Taylor's talking about the same thing, but both of you got brand new ones in the house within a couple of months of each other.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, here's what we're going to do. Let's do this first. Connor, why don't you kick us off? Tell us about one of your appointments this week Tell us about the couple, specifically about the couple, if it's a couple, what their situation was. What did you go through with them? Were they going to stay in the house, not stay in the house? What's the income situation? Then tell us what options you presented and why, and then what did they select?
Yeah, of course. So I'm going to pull out, I have two great examples. I have one that was equity coverage and then one that was standard term. I'll just go through both of them. All right, so first couple, okay, was 60 and 63 years old. They both smoked half a pack a day, okay? Their loan was $93,000, payment was $562 a month, okay?
Okay.
So we went through the lady. So here's the thing, y'all, an important question to ask. They had been together for like 12 years, but they were not married, okay?
Okay.
When someone's not married, they don't get to leave retirements to each other or Social Security.
Right.
Okay? It's a big point. So if you talk to a client, you also got to be careful, depending on certain retirements, if it's a second or third marriage. So that's something as well to learn. But they were both on, let's see, he was receiving a pension and Social Security, and she was working full time. She was making just under $2,000, and he was making roughly $2,700. Went into it. She was on a couple medications, but really for them it was more of a budget thing. He had a lot of health issues. He had pretty severe gout. Gout is normally fine, but he had been hospitalized recently for a few things, and went with equity coverage.
So what options did you lay out for them? Did you give them like
1 year payments in 2 years? Pete Beckman video. If you guys haven't watched it, again, you have to become self-trained in the business. But the best video, and I actually didn't even watch it until about 6 months ago. And I learned critical time period just through a buddy. It was Russ, 4.5 years ago. And about 6 months ago, I remember we were talking about the Pete Beckman critical time period video. Watch the video. He is a master at critical time period. Being honest with all of you, if you watch that video, if you don't understand it the first time, watch it twice, you'll never question it again. You'll never have a question about equity coverage. He lays it out, it's so simple, it makes sense. And then Nick always talks about it's not what it is, it's what it does for the client. But if you watch that video, it explains everything extremely thoroughly.
it's on the virtual training center under additional resources?
But they had a 30-year mortgage. But for them, they both said if something were to happen, they would move away because neither one of them had kids in the area. They had gotten together, both had a job in Ohio, and their kids lived out of state. So they both would have moved. All right?
Okay. Hey, Connor, one sec. Let me answer this question real quick. There's not a link to it. It's on the training center. Virtual training platform. Go to additional resources. You'll find the video there. It's called Critical Time Period. Critical Time Period, Pete Beckman. That's where you can find it, under the virtual training platform. Okay, sorry, Connor, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Yeah, and for them, there was actually a lot of pushback. But again, y'all, one of the easiest ways, too, to go through that, they didn't have any private insurance. This is the last gift that you can leave to your spouse. This is it. Like I always say, like you can't, if we could find a way to send money from heaven, that would be fantastic, but it doesn't exist, right? You can't do a money order from the pearly gates. Doesn't exist. This is the last thing that you can leave. That's what I tell clients. So and here's what I tell all of you as well. The way that I close these clients is they were saying they needed to think about it. And basically what I told them is I said, listen, you don't have any other insurance. All right. You guys are in your 60s. I'm not saying this to sound rude, but this should have been done years ago. Okay. You guys are in a position to where you're on where your husband's on a fixed income. Okay. You're working full time, but you are going to retire. All right. Your income is it's going to be close to what you're making. Okay. This is something you got to fit. All right. If something happens, you're saying that it was like $100 a month. You're saying $100 a month might be tight in the budget. What does it look like when you lose $2,700? I do that all the time, y'all. Okay, you're saying $100 can't fit in your budget, which is fine, so we'll go a little lower. But I want you guys to hear that again. If 100 is tight in the budget, what's it going to look like when you lose 2,700? Because you're telling me you think you can stay in the house, but right now you can't even afford $100. Yeah, I have all the power then. To make sense? Because now if they go, oh, no, we still need to think about it. No. Now you understand, right? The guy's name was Jim. Now you understand, Jim, if you pass away, she will lose the home. Because if you can't afford $100 right now, she can't live losing $2,750. Does everyone understand? Like, that's basic logic, right? 2 + 2 = 4. It's easy. So that's how I close that one. You want me to run through my second one real quick?
Yeah, let me hit one of these questions real quick too. The toolkit will be updated. I don't know. We may put a couple more carriers on there. Here's what I don't want to do. We don't want too many carriers on there because you can become a cheap insurance salesperson. You're shopping around. 1 or 2 companies is all you need. You're trying to figure out all these different products and companies. I would rather we just have 2 companies on there. Personally, I've operated with 2 companies for 12 years.
Because Rumbo, you know too, here's the thing, y'all. You use the toolkit for this reason, to find what product they'll be able to qualify for, okay? So like example, for me, whenever I use the toolkit, I use a lot of Foresters. All I'm doing when I'm running that is seeing if Foresters pops up.
See if they qualify for the product you're going to write.
Yeah, because the one thing, like, I see, like I have a lot of people in my group, they go, oh, well, I need to write Plan Right. We don't do Plan Right virtually. Well, that's what I told the client, it's the cheapest. Remember, toolkits to find out what they can qualify for, okay? It's a big piece of advice. And by the way, just the toolkit works perfectly, but I always tell even people in my group, just to double check everything, don't use the toolkit as a quoter. Use it as an approval tool, okay? Go on to the actual quoting, like through Foresters, and quote it again just to double check, but it's easier to navigate. Just find what product they can qualify for, okay?
Yep.
Save a lot of hassle.
Great advice. Also on the toolkit, yeah, do it like Connor says, see what they qualify for. Utilize your hard copy underwriting cheat sheet that's under additional resources on the training center, and also use the carriers to do risk assessments. They will educate you so much as you're doing risk assessments. I think that's great advice. Just use it to see what they initially qualify for. And then if the company, remember, select the company that you're contracted with. Like if you're not contracted with Americo or something and that pops up as the option, then don't say, well, I can't do it because I don't have Americo. Pick the company that pops up that you're contracted with. That's all you got to do. Remember, you see these guys who use 1 or 2 companies 99.9% of the time. They're not all over the place. I've got an agent now, a veteran agent. Connor, they'll use 6, 7 different companies. You'll paralyze yourself trying to learn all these products. You know what happens? They struggle every month as a veteran agent to get paid because they got all this stuff spread out all over the place to try to work in pending, and they're trying to manage all this. And I said, you're going to have to hire someone if you keep doing that mess, just to manage it so you can get paid. You'll hear Nick Burns talks about he's got 3 products basically: Strong Foundation Foresters, GPM, and American Amicable Senior Choice for his whole life stuff. That's all he writes.
Rumbo, that's what we've told people from the beginning. Look at me in the screen. Do not study product.
Right.
You will drive everyone insane. Do not study product. We do not care about product. All we want to know is what can they get approved for? And you find that out in the beginning using the toolkit and reaching out to the person who brought you in the business, okay, or your manager. Perfect example. My neighbor has actually just started working with me on Tuesday. Her name is Trish. You will see her name a ton. She came over Tuesday morning. I said, Trish, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a friend, collect the information, okay, and create some value, and then call me. She's already written 4 apps. Do you know why? because she's doing exactly what we teach. She's making a friend, collecting the information, okay? Creating value, and that's it. She's not confusing it. And I told her this. I go, the client does not care about the product. They don't care.
They just want to know, what does it do for me?
That's it. What's the price and what does it do? That's it. So for all of you on here, I'm not gonna lie, new agents who go, oh, if I just understood the product, I could sell a lot more of it. No, you'd actually sell less. Because then okay, I love our carriers. Best carriers in the world. Hey, Taylor or Scott, do we enjoy sitting through a carrier training talking about products?
We usually don't let them come in the room anymore.
No, we don't, and it's not that we don't love them, right? And like Bruce with Foresters is incredible, and our America reps are incredible. I'm not taking away from them. We don't care about product. We don't. Sit in a product meeting for an hour and a half, and you'll understand why clients don't like to hear about product.
You'll definitely find that class is the most people that have the most people asleep. People will be like dog every time in the carrier sessions, every time. We love them. Here's how you learn your product. I got the brochure, the consumer brochure on their website. I just read it. It says 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30-year options. Okay, that's great. I'm ready. Let me run my quote and tell them what it does for them. That's it. Don't get paralyzed.
But Rumbo, you know this. Listen clearly. If you're new or a veteran, stop worrying about product. Stop. Make a friend, collect the information, create some value. That's it. They buy you. They don't buy product. There's a reason why, Taylor, you know this. Taylor, how many times have you quoted somebody like $14 a month and they still don't buy it?
A ton.
Yeah, those are the hardest ones who don't buy it.
Yeah, they normally don't, yeah.
And you go, and I remember I'd have an agent call me, they're like, these people wouldn't even buy 14 a month. What is wrong with them? It's like, well, it's because first you were trying to sell them a product, then you were trying to sell them a price. There was no value related. You didn't even make a friend either. You just went straight into price, straight into product, didn't focus on building any rapport or getting to know the person, right? And then you didn't create any value. Of course they didn't buy. Because it doesn't matter. I've written a policy for $1,000 a month, and I've written one for $8 a month. Okay? There was value at different levels, but it was still value, and I still made a friend. It's that simple, though, you guys. Stop worrying about product. Okay? Make a friend, get to know somebody, collect the information, create some value, and call somebody that knows some underwriting. And you'll learn over time. Now, here's the other piece. If Scott, like when I got started, when I called Russ and Cody Beck, hey Cody, this guy's on lisinopril, is that okay? Yes, as long as they're on 3 or less blood pressure meds, they're good with Foresters. I never forgot it. Hey Connor, if they smoke cigars, they can get non-tobacco rate. Perfect, I'll never forget it. And then you just learn like that. Oh, my client has had diabetes and he had a stroke. Okay, Connor, that's a no-go. And this is true. If they've ever had a heart problem with any sugar problems, no term. Okay? And by the way, for all of you, smart ULs are stricter than term products. That's a no-go too. Okay? Has to go final expense. But you learn it over time. But again, you don't need to learn these things. You need to learn to make a friend, collect information, and create some value. That's it. You want me to run through my next one, Rambo?
Yeah, someone's asking, I'll answer this one here to the Zoomer. What's the best advice to get over fear and anxiety during your first appointment? Just do it.
Run the appointment.
And do it again.
Screw up.
And do it again. But however, set 6 appointments. Don't set 1 for the day because they're not going to show up or it's going to go bad. It's not going to work out. Set 6 because you're going to be discouraged. You have 1, you go, oh man, I don't have anything else to work. That one didn't work. They didn't answer. Set 6. Set 6. Even if you're part-time, set 6 appointments for the day because out of the 6, you should write 2. That's the averages. If you only set one, what's your average? 0. So set 6. But to get over your anxiety, just do it. And here's what you'll find. Wow, that wasn't too bad. I survived it. Still got all my limbs. I'm good. Let's go do another one. It's scary. I know it is, because you're thinking, I don't know anything. You know a whole lot more than they do because you passed the insurance exam. So don't worry about it. I know it's scary. Just go do it. And do it. And then do it again. And do it again. Jonathan Burns will tell you. And he knows, we've talked about this. JB says, man, I hate picking up that phone, making those appointments. You know what he did? He just did it. And he says, okay, I got through it. I'm all right. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now he's writing $20,000, $25,000 a month. Just do it. You'll be okay. Danny Valdez is going to bring him on here in just a minute. He did the same thing. He's like, oh, man, I got an appointment. What the heck? But he set 6. I said, you'll be okay. All right, Connor, go to the next one. We got about 5 minutes. We're going to bring on Danny.
All right.
Then we got 2.0 coming up.
Taylor, you're probably like me, man. I remember my first appointment. It looks like I was dancing because I was shaking so bad. Then you're sweating through your shirts. And all right. All right. Next client, okay? $101,000 loan. This was like a very standard one. This one was from yesterday. $101,000 loan. All right. Husband and wife, married a long time, super sweet. They both smoked. He was 40, she was 43. All right. Both smoked. Both were healthy. It was funny. Neither one of them really ever went to the doctor. So those are my favorite people. They're never on any meds. So then they both smoked. Asked them if they plan on quitting smoking. They said, honestly, with the world we live in, probably not. Chad, thank you for the answer. That's what I told him. I'm like, man, I love that. Thank you. So then I went into, incomes. Both made $2,000 a month. All right, so $4,000 combined. This is pretty normal, at least for the Midwest. All right, $4,000 take home, so about $1,000 a week. Monthly payment on their mortgage with taxes and insurance was $700 a month. Let me ask all of you on the call: if you go from $4,000 a month and your income gets cut in half down to $2,000 a month, do you think you could still afford $700 a month plus utilities, plus the car payment, plus the car insurance, plus the house? Do you think? No, of course not. Okay, you're losing half your income. Again, easiest way to, here's one way too, if you have a client being smart with you. Hey, Taylor, you're making $2,000, your wife's making $2,000. Could you stay in the home if your wife passed? Oh yeah, I could. Okay, Taylor, let me ask you this. Do you guys save $2,000 a month? Could you? Oh, heck no, there's no way we could. Okay, well, you're telling me you could survive without your spouse. So you should be saving $2,000 a month right now. That's all it costs to live, right? $2,000. Well, okay, well, if I told you the insurance was $500 a month, could you afford that? Well, no. Well, you're saying if she loses $2,000, you can still afford to stay in the house. Oh, well, I'd get another job if I had to. Oh, okay. And I respect that, Taylor. I know that you would do anything you could to make sure you wouldn't lose the property. All right? The problem is, though, by the way, with what you're saying, if something breaks, all of a sudden now you can lose the house. If everything stays good, you'd be fine. But if the dishwasher breaks, or the car breaks down, or if the car tire pops, then you could lose everything. All right? But again, just don't take people's crap. We understand. Like, you can't survive. So anyways, 3 options. With smokers, all right, especially, I do a lot of 50-50 plans. 50-50 plans are this. Their loan was $101,000. I asked them, I didn't assume it. I said, hey, Taylor, just to save a couple dollars, would you mind if I rounded the coverage off at $100,000? Yes, sounds great. Okay, perfect. So the 50-50 plan works like this. You're guaranteed if you die, it'll pay half the loan. Okay? If you die by an accident, it pays off the full amount. All right? Then that plan costs this. Okay? People go with this option, Taylor, because it's a good starting point. It keeps it lower, and it gets your foot in the door, and we can always adjust it. Okay? The second option okay, is a 15-year plan. Okay? 15-year plan on both of you. Full loan coverage is $115 a month. All right? Okay? And then the third option is going to be, they plan on having it paid off in 20 years. All I did was ask them. Okay? Okay, that option would be $138 a month. So first and foremost, is $138 something that would be comfortable? We could maybe squeeze it. Okay, well, I don't want anything squeezed in the budget. I want it to be comfortable, okay? So here would really be my question. The 50-50 plan is $82 flat and the full loan payoff's $115. Let me ask you this. Is 33 or 30 whatever dollars, would that affect your budget? I asked the guy that and he goes, Connor, not really. I go, okay, that's where I would start then. Is that good with you? Yep. Okay, great. You have your driver's license. That was it. There was no pushback though, because I went through the 2000. If you lose half your income, you're going to lose the property, right? Well, I'd hope not. Well, okay, again, look, talk through it. Hey, y'all, I understand you would do anything to make sure you wouldn't lose your house. That's not the point of our conversation though. If your spouse passes, we don't want you working 80 hours a week. But that's how I talk to them. It's very relaxed.
Connor, say again, how did you transition into the app? They said, yep, that one's fine.
You have your driver's license. That's it. You have your driver's license. Do not do the thing where you go, we just have to get you approved. You're going to get chargebacks. You say, the next step is we have to get you approved and get the coverage in place. Do you have your driver's license? We have to get you, the next step is we have to get you approved and get the coverage in place. Do you have your driver's license? I learned that early on quickly. Whenever I would go, oh, we just got to get you approved. Nope. That's when you start dealing with people not giving you their banking. It's because you just acted like you were just getting the approval. You already created enough value where they understand what that's going to look like. And the most important thing for them is not getting approved. It's getting the coverage in place. Taylor, we want to make sure that you and Laney do not go through that loss of income. Okay? All right. The next step is we have to get you approved and get the coverage in place. Do you have your driver's license? The goal is coverage, right? Because we want to avoid that situation. Okay? Seems little. Taylor, you know that too, though. If you just focus on, oh, we just got to get you, it's just the approval, you're going to deal with problems. Okay?
All right, here's what we'll do. Let's bring Danny on, Heather, and let's talk to Danny. And then we got 2.0 coming up. Danny, how are you, man?
Morning. I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Good. I didn't tell Danny he was going to be on today. All right, Danny, here's what, because I didn't want to prep him. Here's what I want you to tell people. When you got started, so you're brand new, what did that first week look like? What kind of leads did you get? How many appointments were you setting? What did that first week look like when you got started?
Bunch of D leads, a whole bunch. That's one thing I always knew from the beginning was you have to invest in this. So I was never scared to invest. And, you know, like they say, this has changed so much. Not long ago, we were calling to make these appointments. It was a lot harder to make these appointments. It gave you a little bit tougher skin, you know, dealing with these people on the phone first and then jumping into appointments. It was a challenge every single day. It wasn't as easy, but it also helped with my communication skills, talking to people, overcoming objections, which transitioned into, you know, running appointments. So if I can give any kind of advice to the new people, pick up the phone every now and then, talk to some people, get those jitters out and the marbles out of your mouth and figure out how just to communicate, because they are people and people get upset. People have frustrations throughout the day and you don't know what they're going through. But if you keep a tone that calms them down, a lot of times you'll pull appointments out that you didn't think that, you know, you could. But yeah, it was scary in the beginning, making those dials. Every morning I'd have to pump myself up. And you didn't know if you were going to be in the room for an hour and a half or 5 hours, But I knew that I had to get those 6 appointments. That door was shut until then. In this short time, this has evolved so quickly. And now we have this text messaging thing that's only benefited myself and my family. It gives me more time to be out there. My wife treats this as a game, booking my appointments for me. She didn't book. She's never always booked my appointments. This is actually something new, to where it benefits us because now I'm able to swap off with our 2 boys that are home all day that require a lot of attention. It saves our energy. We're able to do things throughout the day around the house, and then freshen up, get dressed and run appointments and help people. It's as simple as that now.
Hey, Danny, so what experience did you have in sales or in the industry before this?
I had no experience. I came from working in chemical plants. I worked outside and really, I'm in Texas. It gets hot out there. And I would wear acid suits, full body suits, respirators, dealing with some of the nastiest chemicals there are in the world, sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid. I mean, really nasty stuff. And I thought that's what I was just going to do my entire life because that's what I did when I was 18. And that's what I saw growing up. I saw my parents work really hard for everything they have. And I'm blessed. They gave me everything I needed. But surrounding yourself with people like Equus and the people we get to surround ourselves with every day, it shows you there's a whole different life out there. And I want part of it. And I want part of it for my kids. And I'm seeing that right now. And I do not plan on stopping.
What kind
I know
of
I have challenges. I know I got a ton of challenges still ahead of me. I know this is a good little streak that I'm on right now, but I know how fast it can turn. So I'm trying to stay focused. I've already committed to working, Friday and Saturday. So there's not such a big gap in between keeping the momentum, like Noel likes to say, because I've learned that through them and seeing this and seeing these top producers' streaks kind of come and go as well. So I know it's coming. I just know how to prepare for it now because of the tools they've provided for us.
Hey, Danny, so the biggest question everyone always has is, are you working all brand new leads? What are you working?
No, I have a standing lead order of like 17 leads, and I really haven't been receiving any. So I'm working B's, C's, D's, IPLs. It doesn't matter. I was investing more towards the end of last year. I was investing $4,000 a month, but my skill set wasn't where it needed to be. I was breaking even. I was making some money, but it wasn't the numbers that I should have been receiving. So I looked at myself and I said, you know what, let's back this down. Let's go back to older leads and let me grind it out. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And then with all the different lead switching and everything that's going on right now, I kind of had to. And I don't know, I think grinding through that stuff only created, a better skill set for myself. And I feel like that's where I'm at now. So I feel like when that time does come and I need to go all out with A leads and there are more to go with, I think now I'll be ready for sure.
You will, because you put in the reps, man, and the skill set's catching up.
Yeah, and guys, don't get discouraged. I've had many 12 appointment days. You know how hard it is to book 12 appointments and then sell nothing multiple days in a row. That's real. That's very real, and that only falls back on your skill set. And you have to get those reps in every single day. I try to stay as scheduled as I can. This meeting, it changed my life. This is my accountability every single day. I worked a regular job my entire life. I had accountability getting to work at a certain time. This is my accountability every day. So I need this. And once we get off of here, it's go time. I jump into another room with a group of buddies that I've been with since day one. And if it wasn't without them, I wouldn't be here. Trevor, Matt, KJ, George, we've all helped each other through this process. So I strongly recommend, having somebody there with you to go through it, because this is not easy. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. That's 100% real. but it's made me a better person. It's made me a better father. I see things a lot differently, and it's all because of this system. I did not see my life going this way.
Thank you, buddy, man. It's going to continue to evolve, man. You're going to new places, man. Thank you so much, buddy. We'll talk to Danny some more next week as well. Danny, before we bring on 2.0, what advice would you give to that person out there right now who's saying, man, I'm just struggling right now, whether brand new, they've been around for a little bit, I'm having a tough couple of weeks. What advice would you give them?
Fight like hell. if you want this, keep fighting. I'm not out of it. You know, I still fight every single day because I know how, you know, what can happen. So I'm not taking it lightly, and I won't take it lightly. I know what I have to do. I have to keep putting in the reps, keep putting in the hours. So just keep going. Watch videos. Watch them over and over and over again. Connor's video, everybody's videos. I watch Bill Martin's videos still to this day. I watch, anybody's videos, really. Just keep learning. Just keep learning and keep talking and falling in love with this process. And y'all also have to remember, man, we're helping people. Like, you're literally changing the outcomes of people's lives, and not just people's families, generations are being changed off of what you're doing. So when you sit in those meetings, make sure you are asking every question you can to get it done, because people just have a hard time making decisions. And those are the ones that hurt the worst, is when I know I didn't do everything I could have done for that family. So don't leave a meeting feeling that way. Really push, do as much as you can for them. That's why we're there. You're the professional. Like they said, you got your license. They don't. They don't know what this can do for them. Teach them, you know, guide them through this process. It's not an easy thing this is a big commitment for people. So take it very seriously, be genuine with it, stay calm. And I think good things follow when that happens.
Thank you, Danny. Proud of you, buddy.
Thank you.
Here to help you get to where you want to go, buddy. Okay, Heather, let's bring on 2.0. Thank you, Danny. Hey, while 2.0 is coming on, he came on quick. Dia, the best thing to do is, if you're not getting home till 6 o'clock, this is what Coach Mosley does. He gets home about 9. So he's in the central time zone. So what he does, so he can work more appointments, is he gets West Coast leads. So now he's bought himself time, and he just works late. So if you're central or eastern time zone, maybe get some stuff out west so you can work later and buy yourself some time and get those appointments, because you need 6 appointments. Hey, buddy.
Morning, Scott Rumbo. How you doing, man?
Good, man. You kind of look like Vanilla Ice.
Well, I'm pretty chill like Vanilla Ice. There's no doubt about it. And, thanks for having me on this morning. And I wanted to just take a second on behalf of all of Equus Nation. Scott, Kimberly, I want to thank you guys for everything you've done to, put this call on and continue to go through the motions day in and day out. So, Equus Nation, if you appreciate what Scott, Kimberly, Rumbo have done getting this started, and all of our coaches, give him some love in the chat. Tell Scott thank you in the chat. I mean, it's amazing coming on here every day like you do and pushing this forward. It has changed this company in so many ways, and everybody's very grateful for that. You're awesome, Scott Rumbo. And
Thank you, Bill. I love you, buddy.
Oh, man, all you coaches that get on here, great job. I was listening to Connor. Just a phenomenal job. Nick, JB, so many folks that get on here all the time. Taylor Rumbo, what a leader we've developed in Taylor Rumbo. I mean, phenomenal job I'm seeing out of so many of you. I can't even say all the names that I'm so impressed by how you stepped up during this process. And, I was talking to Nick Burns last week, and there's one other thing we would love to see you step up with, of course, and that is building that client base. I asked Nick last week, I was in LaGrange with Nick and JB, and I said, why are we not cross-selling enough IULs and annuities in our virtual platform? Why are we're doing so great with virtual, why are we falling short in that one area in general? Some of you are doing a great job, but in general, most of us are forgetting to use the CRM brochure. We're forgetting to mention that there's so many other ways that we can work with our customers beyond just that initial mortgage protection opportunity. And Nick said, well, I can tell you exactly what's happening. When you're jamming 6 to 8 virtual appointments into an evening, as soon as you get done with one, you're racing to get to the next one. You're trying to bust out as many as you can and hit those numbers. And I get that, because back in the day when I was running in my car, that's how it was too. You had 3 or 4 appointments in an evening. You had to drive all over town to get to them. And it was easy to forget to mention, oh, by the way, Mr. Customer, now that we've helped you with this mortgage protection, tell me a little bit about your retirement funding. Are you happy with the risks you're taking? Are you happy with the returns you're getting? A simple question like that, especially in this stock market that we're going through right now, could yield you tens of thousands of dollars in additional commission by just uncovering somebody saying, yeah, you know what? I've got that old 401k from my previous job. It's been losing money the last few weeks. I do need to do something with that. Well, great. I'm a mortgage protection specialist, but we've got other specialists that work in our company that could help you with that. Would it be okay if I got one on the phone right now or had one give you a call and introduce themselves, tell you about how we can help you? It's just that simple, ladies and gentlemen, if we'll ask a couple of simple questions. On the average, our specialists or rather you, the agents that are not serving necessarily in the specialist capacity, are typically making about $2,000 per sale by just bringing up a question like that and then turning it over to a specialist. And if you know what you're doing with indexed annuities and IULs, you don't even have to turn it over to a specialist. You can just take it and run with it and make all that money yourself. Might be $5,000 or $6,000. Lori Martin got a commission check on Monday for $19,500 on an annuity that she sold 2 weeks ago. So there's a lot of money out there to be had, but you've got to ask those simple questions for just 5 seconds. So remember, we have our Refer to Riches program going on till the end of this month. Every time you refer a case over to a specialist, you get a point. If a sale is made, you get 5 points. And whoever gets the most points at the end of the contest period, which ends at the end of March, is going to win $2,500 of Bitcoin. Pete Lee and I have bought $2,500 of Bitcoin that we're ready to give to somebody, whoever can refer the most cases to a specialist. There's a second place prize, there's a third place prize for $1,500 and $1,000. We're giving away $5,000 total in Bitcoin. All you got to do is ask a couple of simple questions, get it over to a specialist, and bam, you're in. So if you don't know who your specialist is, talk to your RM, find out, who do I refer people to on my team? Jared Ewing's team has done a great job of breaking down who the specialists are in each geographic area and letting their agents know, here's who you need to go to in the event that you drum up some business. So I want to encourage everybody to add that to your game if you really want to take it to the next level. Some of the folks that are coaches on here that are just killing it, that's how you get it to the next level, ladies and gentlemen. We need to be cross-selling more products. And I know many of you out there are right on the cusp of being able to do that on a much more regular basis. So please join us. We're going to have our weekly Retirement Solutions webinar coming up here at the end of this call. It's going to start at 11 o'clock Eastern. I hope you'll join us. You can check your email for the Zoom information on how to join that. It's also being texted out to those of you that are on our text list. But we will look forward to seeing many of you there and can't wait to shake many of your hands, give out some hugs, and see many of you in Charlotte next week. Scott Rumbo, thanks for having me, man.
Thank you, buddy. Sure appreciate it. Guys, thank you so much for all your kind comments. We're here to love on you and help you get where you want. And we want, Danny Valdez is a great example of that. We want to help you get there, just like Danny's on his way. Bill, thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate you. Check out the webinar, right? It starts in about 7 minutes. 7 minutes, Retirement Solutions webinar starts, so make sure you catch that. Thank you, coaches. Taylor, we'll go through some of your appointments